Introduction to Word. Before we begin to use the many powerful features and functions of Word 2016, we should get comfortable in our environment. So let's begin with a tour of the user interface, beginning with what you see when you first launch Word 2016. If you're following along with me, go ahead and launch it. You can see on the left-hand side, I have quick access to the files that I've recently used. And there's also a number to choose from here. I simply have to select one of them to go back to it quickly. This means I don't have to go browsing for its location. However, if I don't see the file I want to open on this list, I can click Open Other Documents and go browsing for things like my OneDrive or files that are shared with me, or files on this PC as well. Now, if you launch Word and you're not logged in, you may be prompted to log in at this point. Once you do, you arrive at the start screen like you see here on my screen. When you're ready to start creating new documents, you'll see a number of featured templates to choose from. You can scroll down the list to see that there's quite a few featured templates, but there are many, many more stored online. We can also go to different categories such as business, personal, industry, design sets, and so on. So this kind of gives you a quick overview of some of the templates that are available. So let's take a tour beginning in the top left-hand corner of your screen. We're going to go ahead and before we do that, we're going to go ahead and open a blank document. The blank document is usually the first one stored. So if you go and we take a tour in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see what we call the Quick Access Toolbar. It's here. You'll also notice a little drop-down arrow right here that allows you to customize the Quick Access Toolbar, but we're not going to do that at this time, so I'm going to click off of that. You can also remove things that you don't use. You know, if I go ahead and click Customize Quick Access Toolbar, I can go ahead and click the things that I use so that they will be shown up here. So now I have the save, the undo, and the redo. So we're not going to customize any further. Now you see at the top in the title bar, we're working with document number 1. As soon as we save this document, we'll see the name of the document appear up here. It's color-coded in blue, which is called ColorFlow. We'll talk about adjusting that as well later on when we customize Word. Now in the top right-hand corner, you're going to see some options as well. There's a little guy here just above the ribbon, and that's a display option. And that's where we can display our ribbon. As you see, this is our ribbon area, this whole area here. Or we can turn it off. So if I click it, I can say auto hide ribbon. I don't like that. You know, if you want more real estate to work on, that's fine. I kind of like to have the ribbon with me, so I'll go ahead and click and say show tabs and commands, because I kind of like having that. And in the top right-hand corner, we also have other tools, the minimize and the maximize. And also we have the restore. And then we also have the X, which is the close button, which will allow us to close out a Word altogether. But the ribbon is where we go to do most of our commands. You'll notice that there's a File tab off the ribbon, which is a little bit different. This takes us to what we call the Backstage view. So what we'll do, we'll click File here. then you can see the screen changes. Here's where you can get individual information about our file. So it's clicked on. If we click information, we get information about the file. We can also see that there's like a compatibility mode feature, a protect document, inspect document, manage document. There's also various document properties that are displayed as well. Also from this screen, we can create new files, open existing files, save, save as, print, share, and so on. In Access Word options down at the bottom, the back button at the very top, if we'd like, we can access some options here. And then the back button at the very top will take us back to where we were. Now, going across the top, you can see there are many different tabs representing different ribbons. The Home tab is where it's selected, and it gives us access to things like the clipboard. Just see, this is our clipboard. The font formatting, it's in here. We want to format the font. You can see there's different fonts. There's sizes of fonts that we can select as well. Paragraph formatting, that's in here. It has a little drop down, and you have, things to do with your paragraph, such as left and right, and so on. We also have styles, and the styles appear here. And, if we had text, as we hover over the different styles, we would be able to see. But this is a drop-down window for the various styles that we will use throughout writing documents. So if you notice that there are a number of options to choose from, and we can turn things on and off as well. So let's go to our zooming, and we'll click here to get out of the styles. And if we wanted to zoom in on the document, we can make it smaller or we can make it larger. I kind of like my documents between 75 and 100% is what I normally like. So over here to right, if you're logged in, you'll also see your credentials. Access to your account from here, and there's also the Share tab. We'll talk about sharing your documents, even collaborating on these documents with others, using real-time editing a little later on. We have our work area here where we can see our document. You may be seeing the ruler across the top or down the left-hand side. That's the ruler. Remember, we can go to the View tab. I'll go ahead and do that. And we can either turn the ruler off or turn the ruler back on. I like having it on because I like to see exactly where I am in my document. And then I'll go ahead and enlarge this up to about 100%. There are also scroll bars to scroll up and down your document. You'll see the scroll bars here. In this case, one blank page. And then down to the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that we have page 101. At this time, we have a blank document, so we don't have any words on it. And this here is a check for proofing errors. So if we had any, then, that would have the number of errors that we have. So, if we'll keep going over, we'll see the different options. There's a read mode. There's a print layout. And there's also, and notice that my ribbon up here is changed to the View tab, and there's also a web layout. There's a web layout here, and there's also a web layout here as well. We can see these on the View tablet. We can also get access to them from down here. For example, Read Mode is ideal for reading text. Then that's the one that's mainly selected as the default. And then there's Print Layout. And then in addition to that, we have the Web Mode. So if you're going to be creating documents for the web, this is when you want to use the Web Layout mode. We also have our zoom slider, as I talked about earlier. You can see that we've zoomed in at 100%. So we're seeing here on our screen as we scroll up and down, this is the actual size of the paper we'll be printing on. For example, but we can zoom in and out by clicking and dragging this slider. We can also use the minus sign and the plus sign. You see the minus sign, and then you also see the plus sign. And you can click on that, and that goes up in increments of 10%. So that's a quick tour of the user interface. We will be using many of these features and functions on the ribbon and quick access toolbar. Zoom options in the right bottom hand side, sharing in the top right hand corner, and you should be feeling a little more comfortable in this environment as we continue on.